So the results are in for the midterm elections, and this was a record-breaking, like people voting, people excited for the election. This was a very important race, and obviously that's because of Trump. Obviously that's because Trump was elected, and now each side is now polarized to like keep their position. It's been such a strong thing. The left has been campaigning to like, hey, we need to take the House back, we need to take the Senate back, we need to stop Trump, and the right is obviously like, we need to keep this going, we need to keep control. And obviously, like the left was calling for the blue wave, and then the the right in response was calling for like a red wave, which I predicted it would be somewhere in the middle. More specifically, I predicted that the Republicans would keep the House and the Senate, but they would lose some House seats. And as you can see here, I was wrong, which I never claimed to be an expert, so add that to the list of things that add that to the list of predictions that I was wrong on. I thought they would lose enough seats but still keep the House. Looks like they lost enough seats to where the House has now flipped over to the Democrats. Although it looks to be a relatively slim margin, the results are still coming in. They'll probably have what looks like 20 seats, maybe 30 seats more than the Republicans. Out of, 500 and 535. Senate, the Republicans kept their Senate seats. If anything, it looks like they actually won a few more Senate seats. It'll come out like 54, 55 for the Republicans, which doesn't surprise me. That seems relatively accurate. But it does seem Ocasio-Cortez has won, which again is something that's not surprising at all because based on her district, like she would have won that, obviously. She would have won that section. But yeah, Ocasio-Cortez is now the youngest woman ever elected to Congress. And this is going to be a funny year for memes in that, or a funny 2 years for lots of memes and all sorts of things going on. And also Ted Cruz. This was supposed to be, such a big race. Like, this was the one that I think people were paying attention to the most. Ted Cruz won against Beto O'Rourke, which is a bit shocking because it looks like 51% to 48%, and that's something that normally shouldn't be happening. That Texas is normally very, very red. Texas should be completely behind Ted Cruz, and it looks like it came out pretty even. So that's something concerning to look at in the future. Like, why is Texas turning blue? And I can't imagine it's that Republicans are generally switching to the left. I imagine it's more just immigration and more people moving in and out of Texas, and that would change that. That's my guess, at least. I'm no expert, but that seems to be what is happening. But overall, like, it seems, neither blue wave nor red wave. Honestly, I've seen nothing but disappointment for the most part. Like, the left is very upset that they didn't get their blue wave, that they didn't win near as many seats as they would expect. And the right's upset because they lost the House. They thought they would keep the House. And it just seems nobody's happy because it seems to be right in the middle. The polls, for the most part, were accurate. That's something to keep in mind, where people are saying, like, oh, you can't trust the polls, you can't trust the polls. I mean, after 2016, we saw, no, the polls were wrong. You could not trust the polls in 2016 because they were predicting upwards of, I think it was the Huffington Post, predicted a 98% chance that Clinton would win, and that didn't happen. So a lot of polls, certainly you can't trust them. But just looking at things realistically from this last midterms, the polls were pretty dang accurate. And we can look at that and say, yeah, that they predicted what actually happened. I think it was 538, which most people seem to trust. That seems to be the big area for polls. Predicted a 5 and 6 chance that the Democrats would take the House, and that's what happened. So overall, not too much surprise there if you're someone that trusted the polls. But yeah, it's something that overall, I mean, I predicted it wrong. I predicted that the Republicans would do better, so I got that wrong. But overall, yeah, right. Kind of smack dab right in the middle. Like the Democrats took over the House as you would expect for certain midterms. That during midterms, usually it's the party that has the presidency. The opposite party gains ground. I think there's only been 5 elections in history where that wasn't true. Where the party that had the presidency actually gained or kept everything. Actually gained ground. But yeah, so this is overall, again, not what I predicted, but what a lot of other people were predicting. That it wasn't, it was kind of just honestly what you would expect from basic statistics. But overall, like, it's people are now thinking, like, what does this mean about 2020? What does this mean going for future elections? Because again, this is just everyone's looking to 2020. Everyone's seeing, like, what does this mean for 2020? And well, Republicans kept the Senate, which are like larger areas, or in terms of jurisdictions and that, and voting areas. And apparently, Republicans did pretty well when it came to governor races. Like, not great. But again, like, it seems that they at least maintained their position or gained a little bit. I've seen differing things based on polls still being finalized and that. But I guess that's a good sign for if you're part of the GOP. I guess that's a good sign for you because it seems the bigger races that can't be manipulated by smaller individual issues like you can with the House, because of course people in the House, like representatives, they're a lot more focused on individual issues within that localized area that could affect how midterms turn out. It is actually kind of reassuring to see that certain things went different ways, like Republicans kept the Senate. The Democrats took the House. Overall, Republicans seem to be doing rather well when it comes to governors for a midterm race. That should be going the opposite way. So I think that's kind of reassuring in that we didn't... that must mean there's not a lot of like straight party ticketing. I haven't looked at this very closely. Maybe it just happens in those areas. There were a lot of straight party, but it seems rather mixed up. Like Democrats won some areas, Republicans won other areas. So that's reassuring that people aren't just saying straight party line, which is nice to see. And then there comes Larry Sharpe, who was a libertarian running for governor of New York, and I saw him everywhere. Like, I'm used to libertarians not doing very well. I'm used to libertarians getting 1, 2, 3% when it comes to things. Overall, not like pretty much nothing. But Larry Sharpe, I saw him everywhere. He was on Joe Rogan. Like, I just saw his name all over the place. And I mean, I don't live in New York, so I found that surprising that like his name was everywhere. I hear about little terms, like little races here and there, certain names here and there, but Larry Sharpe was everywhere. Like, his name was just all over the place, and I didn't know if he would win, but I felt pretty confident. Not that he would win, but that he would at least have a good chance at winning. Like, it's not something that you could rule out. And last time I checked, which was last night around 2 o'clock in the morning, Eastern Time, he got 1.6% of the vote, so pretty much nothing. Like, he got the standard libertarian 1, 2, 3%, and yeah, just overall didn't do that well. Which actually surprised me. I thought he would do a lot better than that. I thought he would do much, much better than 1.5%. Apparently, that's enough to get the Libertarian Party recognized in that state as an official party with official like ballot access and that. And I guess that's not something they had before, so good for them. That is kind of a landmark in that sense. But yeah, I was actually a bit disappointed there. And then the last race that I was focusing on was Ron for 37, District 37 of California. I forget exactly who he was running against, but he got, last time I checked, he didn't do very well. But he got, I think it was several thousand votes at least. So in that sense, I did not expect him to win. He was like the liberalist candidate for California, running as a right-winger, running for the Republican Party in California, and especially I think it was like District 37's in the like near Los Angeles. So obviously he wasn't going to win, but I think for someone just running in that area for the first time and a name that nobody's ever heard before, I think he did honestly pretty good for something like that. That I think he did better than I expected, to be honest, because I was very pessimistic on a race like that in California. But I do appreciate that. I like that people did vote for him. There were some people out there. He got several thousand votes. So that makes me happy. Actually, I think I can look it up right here because he was in California. We can go 37th district. It's probably been updated since the last time I checked it. 100% in. He got roughly 12% of the vote, 11.77, 19,000 or 17,972 votes. So yeah, 12% in a very, very, very heavily blue district. That actually surprises me that he did that well. So I'm kind of happy there. I can't remember exactly what district that is, but I'm pretty sure it's in the LA area. So good for him. Keep an eye out for his name in the future. I imagine this is not his only race. This was his first one, but probably not his last. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he does in the future. But yeah, let me know what you thought in the description, what you expected. Did you expect better, worse for your side, whatever side that is? I'm a bit disappointed in the memes. There weren't near as many good memes. This year there's a lot of good Twitter quotes on how, I think it was Florida, on how white men ruined everything, because apparently Florida did pretty well for the right wing. But overall, it's like, yeah, not too much happened either way. This was not a big upset. This was not a big thing in either direction. The people on both sides that were saying, yeah, my side's definitely winning, yeah, it turned out not to be true. And I was overconfident for the right, so I will fully admit that. I was wrong about Brexit. I was wrong about the French election, and I was wrong about this election. Not too far off. I said there wouldn't be no red wave or blue wave, but I was wrong in that I thought Republicans would keep the House. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Were you disappointed? So this is I think this is always very reassuring after elections to look and say, hey, were you in an echo chamber? Like, this is how you can tell you're in an echo chamber. If you heard this was definitely going to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, and you were super, super confident, and then it turns out that's not what happened. This is a nice time to say, like, hey, was I wrong? Like, looking at the things and saying, who was right? Who should I pay attention to when it comes to the polls? And overall, it seems that the general stats, the general polls were relatively accurate here. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Like the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe for more. And thanks for watching.